Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Truly the pinnacle of the FNAF community. This isn't to say the FNAF community wasn't already huge with the release of the first game. I mean, you had anime Freddy Fazbear. Either way, it's just one had Sparky and the other had every version of the same Withered Freddy model. Hey look, he's purple guy. While FNAF 1 gave us the groundwork for a community, FNAF 2 built the rest of the house. The game gave us pillar stones in the community. It gave us Dawko, damn it. If FNAF 2 didn't exist, we would have never had this. But one of the biggest things FNAF 2 gave us was an onslaught of hoaxes. I mean, tons upon tons. You had Shadow Balloon Boy, Gray Puppet, Withered Purple Guy, Emerald Foxy, Emerald Toy Freddy. Why are there so many Emerald animatronics? Who was at their laptop hue shifting every animatronic to green and thought, one more? With the abundance of hoaxes, it felt nearly impossible for any of them to truly stand on their own. I mean, the community would 1 second be hyper-focused on Shadow Balloon Boy and the next, damn it! But with all of these hoaxes, one truly did rise and become somewhat of an icon. That one, of course, being Emerald Freddy. Candy the Cat, posted to Tumblr on November 21st, 2014 by Emil Mako, exactly 10 days after FNAF 2 came out. The immediate response to his creation was to steal it. Yeah, only a month after its creation, the renders of Candy the Cat were stolen and put into a fan game named Five Nights at Freddy's 3. I don't know if anyone needs to tell you this, but this is not Five Nights at Freddy's 3. This game was created by Poniator Films, and after justifiably getting into hot water with Scott Cawthon, the game was retitled as The Return to Freddy's. This thumbnail says more about this series than I could ever hope to. This game is bad. I don't feel ashamed in saying it. I mean, look at this. It's like a Frankenstein version of Freddy. Oh my god. Yeah, Candy the Cat appears somewhat in this game. Again, stolen renders. I mean, they didn't even try. Look at this jump scare. But guys, don't worry, because this isn't Candy the Cat. This character is named Sugar. Crisis averted. I couldn't find it, but there's a Wikipedia page for Return to Freddy's that says Emil was as angry as a duck about candy being stolen, and I just thought that was hilarious. The thing that sucked about this situation as well was that people were claiming Emil stole Candy the Cat from Return to Freddy's. This got so prominent that Emil had to post to Tumblr telling people that he made Candy. Candy the Cat was a FNAF phenomenon. People fell in love with this red-tied cat, claiming it was a leaked animatronic or that it was hidden somewhere in FNAF 2. Guess what? It was not. After the release of FNAF 3, Emil had an idea. A terrible, horrible, grotesque idea that would lead him down a path of no return. A path that leads into the darkest corner of existence and results in nothing but pain and sorrow for those who seek it. He made Five Nights at Candy's. Released on July 18th, 2015, Five Nights at Candy's was a hit. If Candy the Cat was a phenomenon, you're not gonna believe what this game was. With gameplay reminiscent of FNAF 1, tons of lore for the community to dive into, and a cast of recognizable faces at the forefront, it's safe to say everything was in Candy's ball court to be a true hit. You had YouTubers like Markiplier and Corey X Kenshin playing this game and helping push Candy's to the forefront of public consciousness. But how does the first entry hold up? Is it still a great FNAF fan game? And what place does this series hold in FNAF in general? Well, I played the game, to completion, along with its remastered version to answer this very question. Does Five Nights at Candy's hold up? Five Nights at Candy's follows a structure most similar to FNAF 1. It has an office with two doors that you close when an animatronic gets too close. There's also a window with a storm shutter right in front of you. All of these mechanics are tied to a battery connected to each one. As one of these is closed, the battery goes up until it starts flashing red. The battery going up uses up more power, so it's recommended to keep the battery in the green. Just like most, if not all, FNAF games, Every night brings a new threat added into the insanity of the gameplay loop. Night 1 features Candy and Cindy. Night 2 adds Chester and Penguin. Chester behaves just like Candy and Cindy, while Penguin behaves like Balloon Boy. If he gets into your office, he will mess with your doors, allowing one of the animatronics to get in and jump scare you. Night 3 introduces Blank, and he is a camera animatronic. He's located on camera 11 and works just like Foxy in FNAF 1. He has 3 phases before his final phase and a separate camera 5 where you need your storm shutter closed in order to stop him. Failure to do so results in
window. And even managed to crack the glass slightly once. Yeah.
Yeah. Night 4 introduces Old Candy, a noticeably older version of Candy who lacks eyes, so he doesn't feature the pinpoint white eyes the rest of the gang does. You have to watch him on the cameras and close the door when he makes it to your left door. His mechanic is a perfect segue to talk about a feature the game has that is another major deviation from FNAF 1 and 2, and that is the fact that there are no lights on the doors. That begs the question of how do you know when an animatronic is at your door? Well, that's where my favorite part of the gameplay comes in. All of the animatronics in Five Nights at Candy's, besides 2, who will be talked about later, feature the classic FNAF pinpoint white eyes. While in FNAF 1 and FNAF 2, this was used as more of an eerie design choice, Candy's uses this feature as a main gameplay element. The only way you know an animatronic is at your door is by using a sound cue and the visual of their white eyes in your dark abyss of a doorway. I absolutely adore this feature. It plays on the fear of the unknown. Sure, you know Candy is at your door, but this isn't the same Candy as the one you saw on your cameras. This Candy is stripped of everything, relegating itself to being 2 white dots with only a door frame separating you from him. A momentary terror I felt many times in my gameplay that is only satiated by the slam of the metal door. Though, with the battery rising, you know you have to lift it very soon and plunge yourself back into the terror. This feature is also replicated in the cameras. Through the cameras, you can see their pinpoint eyes, and only by double tapping the camera icon are you able to see what lies behind them. There is one more character added in the gameplay loop of Five Nights at Candy's. The Rat. The Rat is portrayed as a big deal in this game, a final boss, and his significance wouldn't really be shown until years after the release of this game in the 3rd installment. In this game, he behaves closest to Old Candy. He makes his way from the left parts and service room on Cam 9, a camera that is told to us by our phone guy to be nothing special. Yeah. Real not special, man. Totally has nothing hiding in it, man. Thanks a lot. The Rat will then either try to enter your office through the left or right doors. Just check the cameras just like Old Candy and ward him off for night 6, and you're done. Of course, this game has a 720 mode, which is to be expected. My strategy for it was just to check on Blank and close a door and count to 6. Pretty simple stuff. Took me like the first try to complete. Totally. There is one major glaring problem in the gameplay, however. It's pretty easy. I mean, I completed this game on stream without dying once. Besides 720 mode. And I think that might be an issue. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to be jump scared all the time, but this game is just really, really easy. Up until night 3, you don't even need the cameras, and that's the same issue FNAF 1 had. You only needed the cameras for Foxy and Freddy, and even then, you just cycled through 2 areas. The nearly same exact thing applies to Five Nights at Candy's, and that's such a shame because I love the environment of the burger place. Oh yeah, by the way, I've gotten this far into the video without ever mentioning Candy's is a burger place, and yeah, it is. That's really about it. It has no lore significance except for, like, Mr. Burger. Hi. But the environments in this game are great. From the cutout photo op with cats to the Tom and Jerry style old cat cutout teasing his existence well before he's revealed, to the disassembled penguins. Speaking of cameras, much like all FNAF games, they hide Easter eggs. On camera 11, behind blank, you can find a board filled with drawings, one of which being everyone's favorite Markiplier. After clicking it, he'll appear on a monitor in your room and disappear. A harmless little Easter egg that is probably a reference to Emil's also famous Markiplier animatronic model. There's also an origami cat that randomly appears. I'm really not sure why. In later entries, it's closer tied to the main character, but in this game, it's kind of just there. Some people say that it might be another form of Shadow Candy. Shadow Candy will randomly appear on the show stage, and he's like this game's version of Golden Freddy. You pull down your monitor, and if you're not quick enough to pull it back up, you get jump scared. Shadow Candy is just kind of there in the first game, a basic Golden Freddy reference, but much like Golden Freddy, he's recontextualized and made better later on in the game series. Just trust me. There's this creepy little rat Easter egg in the extras menu that, much like Shadow Candy, will be made much more important later in the franchise. The final Easter egg to talk about is these posters in Main Hall 2 saying, "You fell asleep and it is your fault," alluding to something that is a part of the game's lore. Speaking of which, I think it's time we go over that lore. The story of the Candy series is way easier to understand compared to the FNAF series, so let's get into it, at least for the first game. The game follows our night guard, Mary Schmidt, a character who is alluded to fall asleep on her previous job, resulting in the murder of 5 kids, whose blood gets on the metal that's used to make the Candy's animatronics. This murder was presumably by the rat animatronic, as revealed in later installments. Since Mary is partially to blame for the death of these children, she is terrorized by the now possessed animatronics in the new Candy's Burgers and Fries. After surviving 5 nights, she gets fired for tampering with the animatronics. It's actually 7 nights, but... And that's really the story of the first 5 Nights at Candy's, without diving too much into the other games. Emil would say that Shadow Candy is the soul of the cat performer, but you might not even know what a the cat is. So go play 5 Nights at Candy's 2, I guess. By the gameplay alone, you can tell 5 Nights at Candy's took the clearest inspiration from the first FNAF game. This is also prominent in its environments. Much like the first FNAF game, Candy's excels in how much it builds dread. The office is dimly lit, and the mentioned dark abyss of the doorways create this foreboding sense of tininess. Throughout the entirety of the game, I felt like a tiny ant that could be squashed by these animatronics at any point. A sitting duck, if you will, and that creates such an eerie feeling. Also, that damn music box that plays during the night, it is the thing nightmares are made from. It is so reminiscent of the FNAF 1 carousel, that stupid carousel that I hate, me and the gang destroying the FNAF 1 carousel. It's not even on the cameras, I don't get it. Everyone was making me think I was losing my mind. That's enough of that one. But I will say this game doesn't hold up graphically anymore. Don't get me wrong, it looks great, but in a slew of higher definition FNAF fan games, this one just doesn't graphically compare. This is the part where I talk about 5 Nights at Candy's Remastered. Candy's Remastered was released on August 14th, 2019, just in time for the 4th anniversary of the 5 Nights at Candy's franchise. And man, this game looks good. The graphics in this game are night and day compared to the original. The extras menu showcases these differences and makes you realize how green the original cameras were. Candy and the gang have been given a new makeover and they look fantastic. But how's the gameplay? The game is still really easy. Yeah, 5 Nights at Candy's Remastered doesn't exactly increase the difficulty of the game at all. In fact, gameplay-wise, it felt literally identical to the original Candies. You see the eyes, you check on blank, rinse, and repeat. I don't really have much to say about it, except the doors now have the battery on the buttons, and your power is on a monitor, which makes the whole gameplay seem pretty sleek. Oh yeah, also Shadow Candy. The most notable thing about the remaster is that there is a new Shadow Candy Night that you can get from that rat Easter egg in the extras menu. He'll give you a random code. That's right, it's random. You can't just look it up, and after inputting it into the custom night, you get the Shadow Candy Night. It's like a game of hide and seek, something very reminiscent of what happens in the lore. Wink wink, nudge. Nudge. With you having to try and find Shadow Candy on the cameras and at your doors. He can be in both the lit up camera feeds and the darkened camera feeds. Just survive the night and boom, you beat the secret Shadow Candy mode. This also has a teaser for Five Nights at Candy's 4, a game that is definitely coming out sometime in the future, at any point, sometime, maybe? Also, there definitely is a 720 mode again. I'm going to cry, but Five Nights at Candy's is a great remaster of this beloved game that is really graphically beautiful and also makes my streams go 1 frame per second. But here's the big question. How does Five Nights at Candy's hold up? Well, gameplay alone, it holds up like a worse FNAF 1. It has its moments of fear, but overall, it isn't too scary. That and the gameplay is really easy. But damn it, none of that matters. Candy's represents a nostalgic time where FNAF was in its infancy. The series was barely a year old when the game came out, and this game makes me feel something. It brings me back to actually believing Sparky was in FNAF 1, or that Shadow BB was hidden in a mobile port of FNAF 2. The doorways can give me the same fear as seeing Bonnie at the doorway for the first time in FNAF 1. And the game as a whole transports me to this bygone internet. An internet where Corey X Kenshin used a cloud for where his camera was, and Markiplier was just the same guy he is now but with less hair. The gameplay doesn't matter for this game, because what does matter is the game itself. The emotions this game brings. The way seeing Candy's face turns me into the same kid on Jump Scare Simulator. The game may not hold up technically, but the game holds up in my heart. Isn't that enough? Isn't it enough for a game to just be what it is to you? For a game to just be Five Nights at Candy's? Also, it's free, so you really can't complain too much. Here's my socials, here's a Faz token, and I'll catch you at 6 a.m. Did I mention I hate 720 mode?